Alright, so I am back with video number 2 for this week. This is 1 and 2 step equations. So it is still algebra. This is something that should be really familiar to you. If it's not, make sure you join a live session so we can get you figured out. So just really quick, with solving equations, you want to remember equality. It has to be equal. What you do to one side, you must do to the other side as well. So we first need to talk about our inverse operations. So we have 4 operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And you'll see in a little bit, when we're solving, we have to use those inverse operations to undo them. So addition and subtraction are each other's inverse operations, and multiplication and division are each other's inverse operation. What that means is if you have addition, subtraction undoes it. If you have multiplication, division undoes it, and same way for the other two. So we're going to start in on one-step equations, and just like the name says, it takes one step to solve them. And your end goal is you want to have a letter, so your variable equal to a number. It doesn't matter what the variable is, x, in this case the first one's p, but it needs to be equal to one number. So when I look at the left side, I have 3 plus p, and remember, our end goal is to get just p by itself. So when I'm looking at what is over here with p, you also have this 3, and it's positive. So I need to move it to the other side. Remember, positive goes with addition, so we need to think back to our inverse operations. The opposite of addition is subtraction. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides first. So I subtract 3 from the left side, I subtract 3 from the right side. When I do that on the left, 8 cancels out, and I'm just left with p equals 8 minus 3 gives me 5. And remember, we want it to be a variable equals a number, so you'll check, is it? It is. It's p equals 5, so we're done. This is your answer. So now this bottom one is a little bit different. We want to get that k by itself. And remember, in the last video, I told you a fraction is just a division problem. So we have division here, and remember, to undo it, we want to use its inverse. So the inverse of division is multiplication. Now, I kind of want you to think of this as a cross multiplication type deal. If you have just a plain number on one side, you can put it over 1, and we're going to cross multiply. So k times 1 gives us k equals, and then we do 16 times 11, which equals 176. We want to check, is it k equals a number? It is, so we are done. Alright, so I want you to try these 2 problems on your own. You're going to work them on your own paper, and then the questions are going to pop up asking you what you got for your answer. So number 1 is v over 8 equals 2, and number 2 is n plus 16 equals n. Remember, you want to get the variable by itself. So we're now moving into 2-step equations, and it's still the same goal. We still want the variable to equal a number. Just like the name says, 2 steps, there's 2 steps to solve. So in this first case, you have 3x on the left by itself, but I have 16 plus 5 on the right side. They are common, so we're going to combine like terms. I'm just going to rewrite the 3x is equal to 16 plus 5 gives me 21. Now I need to get the x by itself, and this 3 is stuck to it with multiplication. So in order to undo it, we do the inverse. We do the opposite. We're going to divide by 3. When I do that on the left side, the 3's cancel out, and I'm just left with x equals 21 divided by 3 gives me 7. So my answer for this one would be x equals 7. Please make sure you are doing x equals, p equals, whatever the variable equals a number, because I will count it wrong on the test in a week. Now this one, we need to get the x by itself, but over here we have the positive 26. So our first step would be to subtract 26 from both sides. When I do that on the left, remember, it cancels out, and I'm left with negative x equals, you need to do 11 minus 26, gives you a negative 15. Now you cannot stop here because I have a negative x. It's not x equals. So usually you divide by whatever's in front of the x, and you can divide by a negative 1 here if you want. But if you have negative x, all you do is change this to a positive x, and then you change the sign on the right side as well. So negative 15 becomes positive 15. And your final answer is x equals 15. So one more problem I do want to work is with the fraction. We want to still get this x by itself, so I need to subtract 3 from both sides. When you do that on the right side, remember it cancels out. 7 minus 3 gives us 4, and it's equal to 1/5 x. Now, if you have this situation, I want you to take the x and write it up top. So 4 equals 1 times x would just be x over 5. If it was like 2/5, it'd be 2x over 5. You're just going to move the x up to the top. And now this looks like one of the problems we've done, where you put the 4 over 1 and we start cross multiplying. So 5 times 4 gives me 20. And it's equal to 1 times x, which just gives me x. So we're done. X equals 20, and you're good to go. So again, you have these 3 problems. You're going to work them on your own, and then there's going to be a question that pops up and asks you what you got for number 1, for number 2, and for number 3. So please make sure you're working these and figuring out what they are. So just like the last video, you do have practice problems with this. It's called 1 and 2 step practice. Remember, you're going to do the work on your own paper for all the problems. You must have the correct heading or I won't accept it. And then you're going to take a picture of your work and upload it with the assignment. So let me know if you have any questions. If you need help, make sure you join a live session.